I recently came to the realization that this year, 2024, marks the 18th anniversary of Fergie's debut album, The Dutchess, so I felt it was only right for us to revisit one of the most iconic pop albums from this century that truly helped elevate the standards of a debut solo album. This album is a childhood classic of mine, and I always thought it deserved some more recognition for how it impacted the music industry. So before we get started, please be sure to grab your snacks, get comfortable, like, comment, and subscribe as we time travel back to 2006 to relive the era of the Dutchess. Before we get to the iconic year 2006, we must begin when a young Stacy Ferguson, who was born and raised in Whittier, California, went to a Tina Turner concert when she was 6 and instantly became enchanted by the magic of music and performances as Tina pointed at her in the crowd. Stacy became charmed by the energy and rawness of concerts and wanted to replicate the feeling in her own life, which led Stacy to adamantly tell her mother at age 7 that she was going to have an album of her own, in which her mother replied that she could do so as long as she received good grades in school. With both of her parents being teachers, school was heavily prioritized in her household. Stacy started her career as a child actress, in which she was in several TV commercials. She was the voice of Sally and Lucy in a few of the Charlie Brown specials, and also made appearances in the shows California Dreams and Married with Children. From 1984 to 1989, an 8-year-old Stacy was a regular on the children's television program Kids Incorporated, which was basically another version of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse that featured kids performing in their own rock group, in which they discussed issues ranging from childhood crushes, running away from home, and bullying. By the time she was 14, she was embarrassed about being on the show and entered her rebellious phase as she became fascinated by weapons, LA gang culture, and urban music, in which she listened to artists such as Queen Latifah, Roxanne Shante, Moni Love, and Salt-N-Pepa, which heavily influenced her creative experimentation with rapping as an artist. In her early 20s, Stacy formed the group Wild Orchid with Stephanie Rydell and fellow Kids Incorporated star Renee Sandstrom, in which the group released their self-titled debut album in 1997, which received 2 Billboard Music Award nominations. They followed up with their second album, Oxygen, in 1998, which only sold 200,000 copies worldwide and ended up being a commercial failure. After their label refused to release their third album, it led Stacy into a downward spiral in which she developed an addiction to the drug that begins with the letter E and crystal you-know-what for about a year, in which she described as the hardest boyfriend she ever had to break up with. Her ex-boyfriend at the time allowed her to detox in his house, and when she was 25, she became clean and moved back in with her parents as she spent all of her childhood acting money and was living off of unemployment. During one of her last shows with Wild Orchid, Stacy approached will.i.am in the hallway as the Black Eyed Peas were also on the lineup, and they exchanged phone numbers and began having occasional phone conversations about her budding solo career. Much time later, when the Black Eyed Peas were finishing up recording their third studio album, Ella Funk, the group had only one song to finish called Shut Up, and will.i.am was desperate to find a girl who would sing hard and raw on the hook like a Pat Benatar. After a friend suggested Stacy Ferguson, will.i.am recalled Stacy pitching her album to him backstage a year or 2 prior, which led him to invite her to the studio. will.i.am said, "She sang and I was like, wow, that was dope. You want to put a harmony on it?" She was like, "You want a third or a fifth?" I was like, "Whoa, you know that knowledge-ish. Why don't you put a third on it and we'll put the fifth on it later, because that'll make it sound dissonant." She said, "Well, I could put the fifth on a bar 2 and on bar 3 I could go in unison." I was like, wow, I'm effing with you. Stacy grew to build a bond with the band, although she never had any intention to join the group full-time. They all would go out clubbing and soon became a family as Stacy, who at this point changed her stage name to Fergie to symbolize her new and improved image, would contribute background vocals on their albums, while she used that opportunity to closely work with them to record songs and go out on tour to learn and prep for her eventual solo endeavors. During this time, Fergie was writing a lot of her music based on all the experiences she had up until that point, and will.i.am began producing for her since mid-2002, while the Black Eyed Peas recorded Ella Funk. Their fourth studio album, Monkey Business, released in 2005, peaked at number 2 on the Billboard 200, won 2 Grammy Awards, and went on to sell over 4 million copies in the United States. The album also featured their controversial third single, My Humps, in which audiences first heard Fergie's rap aspirations as she sung about using her assets on her body to lure her materialistic desires. While on their Monkey Business tour in 2005, Fergie and will.i.am became heavily engaged in writing and producing her solo album while in their tour bus studio, and also in early 2006 when they rented a house studio in Malibu that allowed Fergie to embrace the peace and serenity that helped her feel the intimate emotions she wanted to express on her album. After spending about 7 solid years writing her songs, Interscope Records CEO Jimmy Iovine encouraged Fergie to officially put out the album after he loved the songs that he heard. In July of 2006, it was officially announced that Fergie would be releasing her solo debut, The Dutchess, to be released 2 months later. When asked how is solo Fergie different from what listeners have heard on the Black Eyed Peas record, Fergie said, "It is different because I'm a singer first and foremost. There are more ballads and more intimacy between me and the listener because sometimes when you're in a group, you don't have space to air out your dirty laundry. This album is a complete thought. It's not just a verse or a sentence, it's my complete feeling and emotion. I think people will be surprised because they don't know the sensitive side of me yet. I also like to experiment with different tones in my voice, and I wanted to make the album really colorful." A week after her solo debut was announced, Fergie released her first single, London Bridge, which initially received mixed reviews and entered the charts at number 84, but soared to number 5 the following week, which became the second biggest jump in Billboard Hot 100 history at the time. The third week, London Bridge leaped to number 1 on the charts for 3 consecutive weeks and went platinum within a year. The rapid and massive success of London Bridge caused Fergie and her team of collaborators to quickly finish the album, as it was nearly complete at that point. When describing why she chose the title, The Dutchess, Fergie said, "The Dutchess is a play on words from the Duchess of York, but it's not to be taken literally. If you notice, on the album cover it says Fergie as the Dutchess because I wanted each song to be a movie poster, but because London Bridge did so well, so fast, we had to get everything done, so only half the songs on the album have movie poster theme. For example, for Fergalicious, I'm holding a lollipop. It's pretty campy and cute. The pictures were all shot by Ellen Von Unworth in Paris, so a lot of them are very Bridget Bardot-esque." The Dutchess was released on September 13, 2006, which included a team of songwriters and producers being Fergie, will.i.am, Polo da Don, Sean Garrett, Ron Fair, Keith Harris, John Legend, and many more, who created a boundless sonic diverse palette of songs that is a melting pot of reggae, rap, R&B, pop, rock, old Motown, techno, and jazz influences. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, selling 142,000 copies in its first week. After a few weeks, the album fell to number 21 on the charts, but due to the success in the subsequent singles released and a Princess Diana benefit concert, the album continued to rise on the charts and sold an average of 50,000 copies on a weekly basis, and after 51 weeks on the chart, The Dutchess rose to a new peak of number 2 on the US Billboard 200 chart. Worldwide, the album peaked at number 18 on the charts in the UK and went on to become certified platinum in the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Japan, Poland, New Zealand, and Russia, which resulted in the album selling 12 million copies globally. Fergie promoted The Dutchess on various radio and TV programs such as TRL, the VMAs, So You Think You Can Dance, the Billboard Music Awards, and The Today Show. The Dutchess went on to become nominated for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance at the Grammys. It became one of the most commercially successful albums of 2006 and 2007, and also made history when the album was the first to produce 5 top 5 singles this century, which was later surpassed by Katy Perry's Teenage Dreams in 2010. With the success of the singles London Bridge, Glamorous, Big Girls Don't Cry, Clumsy, and the album opener Fergalicious, The Dutchess set a new record in the digital era for the most multi-platinum singles from one album, with each single selling over 2 million digital downloads in the United States. The album opener and second single, Fergalicious, is undeniably a catchy fusion of hip-hop, electronica, and dance music lumped together to create a timeless workout anthem that would never get old. The song also samples the group JJ Fad's song Supersonic, with a bridge that features an interpolation of Night Train by Jimmy Forrest and James Brown, and was also produced by will.i.am. will.i.am described this song as the sister of the Black Eyed Peas song My Humps. And growing up, I always thought those two songs sounded related, but evoked different feelings for me, so it is comforting to know the intentionality will.i.am had behind producing both classic songs. In Fergalicious, Fergie boasts about her self-worth, confidence, cockiness, pride, and overall self-love that no other woman can compare to and no man can amount to. My favorite parts of the song is when Fergie spells out her name. I'm the F to the E, R, G, the I, the E, and can no other lady put it down like me. And when will.i.am spells out various adjectives towards the end to describe the definition of being Fergalicious. The music video completely matches the high energy and stamina-filled vigor that the song emanates. The visual is choreographed by the legendary Fatima Robinson and has a Willy Wonka-themed atmosphere with lollipops and peppermints galore. The music video premiered on MTV on October 24, 2006, and eventually reached a peak at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 the second week of January 2006, which at the time was the greatest digital sales in one week. That was a historic record that was broken a year later by the Flo Rida song Low. The second track on the album, Clumsy, has a very bouncy, breezy, bubblegum pop sound to it that makes it so magnetic no matter if you listen to it every day or once every 5 years. I haven't heard this song in a while, but while I was replaying it to make this video, I replayed it literally over 10 times because it is just so fun. It has such a naive and juvenile vibe to it, as Fergie sings about tripping, flipping, and fumbling all over town as Cupid calls her to fall in love. The song has a unique and modern twist to the 1950s rock and roll sound, as it samples the song The Girl Can't Help It, originally performed by Little Richard. The music video is equally a good time, as it is stylized as a pop-up book as each scene flips the page to the next, with Fergie in various locations such as a concert, in the car, a fashion show, and space shuttle, eventually landing in the arms of the man of her dreams. Everything about the video concept, production, and simplistic lyrics has a timeless element to it that helped propel the song's chart position on the charts, reaching a peak of number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming Fergie's 5th single to reach the top 5, and was certified platinum a year later in 2008. The third track, All That I Got, the makeup song, is a mid-tempo R&B inspired song that samples the song Zoom by the Commodores, in which Fergie's intimate ballad features her pleading to her love interest to love her unconditionally beyond her physical appearance and all the glitz and the glam that comes with being Fergie the star. It then features a verse from will.i.am where he affirms Fergie's pleas by promising to love all of her through thick and thin. As a kid, the very first single, London Bridge, sounded to me like a fun and adventurous audio frolic throughout London, but as I got older, I realized the song had a lot of bedroom metaphors and innuendos that was delivered in a raunchy, funky, siren-heavy, aggressive manner that made the message Fergie was trying to deliver fly under the radar for my then underage ears. Produced by Polo de Don and also written by him, Fergie, Sean Garrett, and Mike Harnett, the repetitive use of horns helped to cultivate a boisterous and high-energy club banger in which Fergie is headstrong about her willingness to have fun with whatever man suits her interests and to also send a message to the paparazzi to leave her the F alone. The song had mixed reviews when it first came out and was ripped by critics for its explicit sexual lyrics and also because people felt it was a knockoff version of Gwen Stefani's 2005 song Holla Back Girl, which I feel sound nothing alike, given that Holla Back Girl sounds more like a schoolgirl cheerleader song, whereas London Bridge gives adult club vibes. Debuting at number 84 on the charts, the song jumped to number 1 in its third week on the Billboard Hot 100 and was certified platinum a year later in July 2007. The music video was filmed in Woolwich, South London during one of the Black Eyed Peas tour stops in the UK, in which all the members of the group are featured in the video. When the song went number 1 on the charts, Fergie felt the weight of all that she had experienced and that she fulfilled a childhood dream by saying, "I was in California at Josh's house, and I looked at my sidekick and it says, 'You're number 1 on Billboard Hot 100. Going number 1 on Billboard has been a dream for so long. I started crying, bawling really. It was a happy cry, but I felt like I was 7 again. I started going over my life, all the ups and downs, everything that I worked for, and finally this. It's ridiculous.'" How come every time you come around my London Bridge wanna go down like London? The fifth track, Pedestal, is a scathing statement to the rumors and gossip fueled by the bloggers and paparazzi that come out of the woodworks with their fabricated lies now that Fergie is seeing major success as an artist. When Fergie begins the song by singing, it exemplifies how the media not so strategically looks for ways to tear down Fergie or any artist when they are seemingly at the top of their game, which is something I'm sure every musical artist can relate to at some point in their career. Written and produced by Prince Board, the song opens up with a play on the children's rhyme London Bridge is falling down, which is also a clever subsequent track to the previous song London Bridge. The 6-track Voodoo Doll, written and produced by will.i.am, steps into the dub and reggae territory as it documents Fergie's experiences with literally fighting her demons with her battle with drugs, which she has been very vocal about. When Fergie sings about feeling paranoid, hearing whispers, and feeling helpless and aimless, the song perfectly highlights how disassociated she was with her mind and body during this time. Fergie said, quote, "There's a demon part that's a completely different voice than the singing part, and it's almost like 2 voices. It's me battling with myself," unquote, which I feel really sets the heavy, eerie, and haunting tone that I can imagine was an incredibly dark time for Fergie. To be quite honest with you all, the real reason I wanted to make this video was to have an excuse to talk about the masterpiece that is Glamorous featuring Ludacris. Immaculately produced by Polo de Don and also co-written by him, Fergie, Elvis Williams, will.i.am, the smooth, gentle, silky R&B track is yet another autobiographical song in which Fergie is reminding herself and her loved ones that despite her massive success, glamour, wealth, and notoriety as an artist, she is still the same humble and grounded girl from Hacienda Heights, California. The song initially debuted at number 98 on the Billboard Hot 100 and spent some weeks fluctuating up and down the charts before peaking at number 1 for 2 consecutive weeks, 2 months later after its re-release in March of 2007, becoming Fergie's second number 1 single. People have compared this song to Gwen Stefani's Luxurious, Jennifer Lopez's Jenny from the Block, or Madonna's Material Girl, but I simply feel it's 100 times better than all 3 of those songs combined. Glamour's just aged the best, and it feels like it would still go number 1 on the charts if it came out today. Oh, wait. Technically, it did, when rapper Jack Harlow sampled the song in 2022 with his song First Class, which also went number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. I'm not afraid to say that I listen to Glamorous on the daily, and I think it is one of the best songs ever created. And naturally, Ludacris delivered on his verse by adding to the lavish and extravagant lifestyle that the song and visual displayed.
Champagne witnesses, caviar dreams. You deserve nothing but all the finer things.
Directed by the iconic Dave Meyers, I loved how the video began with a typical backyard party in East LA before it transitioned to Fergie flying in a private jet, to watching her music video on her phone, to her and her friends at the drive-thru at Taco Bell, to her and Ludacris filming a Bonnie and Clyde inspired film also titled Glamorous. My favorite parts of the song and the video is the outro of the Raheem the Dream sample of and how Fergie and her friends are dancing back at the party. The following track, Here I Come, co-written by Fergie and will.i.am, that is also produced by will.i.am and includes a feature by him as well, samples a 1966 song, Get Ready, sung by The Temptations. The song does not do much to revitalize the sample, but it is one of the standout soulful hip-hop songs on the album that lets people know that she has arrived and she is bigger than ever. And that sentiment was proven by the monumental success of the entire album. This is not a song I revisit often from the album, but I do remember this song being used in promotional advertisements the first few years it came out.
Ain't nobody rockin' like this, ain't nobody out there swift like this. Everywhere I go, all I hear is this.
The next track, Velvet, is an intensely smooth, luxurious, gentle, Quiet Storm ballad co-written by Fergie, will.i.am, George Pajon Jr., and Michael Fratantuno, and produced by Will and George, that features Fergie intimately crooning over an acoustic guitar while she invites a man to share her bed with. Whenever I hear this song, Fergie just gives skillful lounge singer in the 1950s. The swing, jazz, and down-tempo elements really fits Fergie's vocal range, and she really mastered the musical and vocal components necessary in this song that the vocalists of that era had. The 4th single from this album, Big Girls Don't Cry, co-written by Fergie and Toby Gad and produced by will.i.am, is truly one of my all-time favorite pop ballads. I swear there was a point in time where my middle school self was listening to this song on a daily basis because it just got better and better with each listen. Listening to it now still hits the very same, and I think it is because Fergie did not do too much or too little. It is a very simple and mature crossover breakup anthem that is both warm and sad, and has a great message of picking yourself back up when faced with the dissolution of a breakup or the ending of any relationship for that matter. Everything from the guitar, the strings, subtle drums, and incredible vocal performance from Fergie contributed to a timeless record that helped this song shoot to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, which became Fergie's 3rd number 1 song, in which she also became the first female artist since Christina Aguilera in 2000 to attain 3 number 1 songs from an album. The 11th track, Mary Jane's Shoes, featuring singer-songwriter Rita Marley, who is the widow of Bob Marley, samples his 1974 song, No Woman, No Cry, that was co-written by original writer Vincent Adams, Fergie, and will.i.am, who also produced. The reggae-inspired song about rolling a blunt soon transitions into a heavy metal punk rock sound and then switches to a piano and jazz singer style that honestly does not make any sense to me, but whatever made Fergie feel good at the time, I guess that's all that matters. The penultimate track, Losing My Ground, co-written by Fergie and her former Wild Orchid bandmates Stephanie Rydell and Renee Sandstrom, along with Rob Bolt, who produced alongside will.i.am, deals with the breaking point of desperation Fergie found herself at when she dealt with her addiction. This intense and introspective ballad, which is carried by an acoustic guitar, sounds as if Fergie is literally trying to pick herself up throughout the song, but her demons keep weighing her down, which Fergie excellently vocalizes throughout the chorus of the song. When discussing how sad and desperate she was during this time in her life, Fergie said that one night she pulled her car to the side of the road, and in a few minutes she wrote a song called Losing My Ground and brought it to her bandmates in Wild Orchid, in which they read and instantly staged an intervention. Fergie said, "I came up with the quickest explanation I could. Everyone around me knew, and I didn't care. I just didn't want them to ask me questions. I became more and more isolated, and it became more and more dark. One day, I started not knowing who I was, and there was this little voice inside of me, God or my conscience, and I had a conversation with me. Either go this way or that way. Which road do you want to choose? She called her mother and said, I'm in trouble and I need to get out of this place. The album closing, the sixth and final single from the album, Finally, co-written by Fergie, Stephanie Rydell, and John Legend, who also produced as he is performing the piano on the song, is truly an impressive ballad that showcases the beautiful strings and Fergie's rich vocals that creates a cinematic Broadway theater-style sonic experience.
Now my destiny can begin, though we will have our differences.
When describing the song, Fergie said, Finally is the last song on the album. It's piano, strings, and vocals played by John Legend. He co-wrote that song. It's a timeless ballad that you could play 30 years from now and it'll still be cool because it doesn't lend to any era. And it's really stripped down. I really had a chance to sing, although I didn't over-sing anything. My taste is more to bring it out at certain moments. This song is yet another mature and introspective track where Fergie is in complete control and was able to put an angelic cap on her eclectic and experimental album where she is seemingly at peace with her journey in life and how she is ready to reach for her destiny. The final 3 bonus tracks in the album, Close to You, Paradise, and Wake Up, are 3 more solid and sonically diverse songs that demonstrate Fergie's artistic versatility and her ability to thrive and flourish in all types of genres. These songs are further proof that with the right production, Fergie's limited but unique vocal abilities has immense range when placed with an incredible producer like will.i.am who knows her musical strengths and weaknesses. Overall, when listening to the Dutchess and evaluating its quality across typical album metrics such as chart performance, radio play, audiences it reached, engagement, growth across territories, buzz, video watch time, revenue, and long-term cultural impact, this album passed with flying colors. There's something on this album for everyone, and it accomplished the short-term mission of delivering a fun, charming, and rambunctious project that showcased the many sides of Stacy Ferguson. As for the long term, this album is officially an adult and has aged incredibly well. I don't care how much this generation likes to clown Fergie for her unusual national anthem performance,
That our flag was still there. Oh, say.
or for her unique vocal abilities. This album reestablished the standard for how to deliver a debut album. Fergie has 5 undeniable hits on this album, and a few more timeless records that all sound different from each other and tells a distinct narrative. While this album is not the most cohesive, it does not need to be because it is like dipping your hand into the bucket of the unknown. You don't know exactly what you are going to get, and that is the beauty in this experimental, perfectly imperfect pop classic. I would say my favorite tracks would be Glamorous, Big Girls Don't Cry, Clumsy, Fergalicious, Finally, and Close to You. Please let me know in the comments what you all thought of this album when it first came out and how you are feeling about it now 18 years later. Also, let me know what are some of your favorite songs off of it. Do you think that her second album, The Double Dutchess, was a good follow-up, or do you think she should have did a Lauryn Hill and gave us a one and done given the success of The Dutchess? Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell, and I'll see you next time.